Hello and welcome to Nigeria Now on Ekwa Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada and we are live on YouTube and on Facebook at Ekwa Television International. This is the program where we look at issues around securities, government policies, politics, amongst many others. My name is Joyce. As I said earlier on, I have Sele Elisha Dashom in the studio. Hello and welcome.
Oh, thank you.
How are you doing, Sele?
I'm great, thank you.
Good to have you.
Always.
Let's go into the issues at hand. The British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery, has revealed that the number of Nigerian students in the United Kingdom universities rose from 20,000 to 127,000 in 3 years. And you know, this is a conversation that we had some times ago about the visa restrictions on foreign students, how that a lot of Nigerians felt, oh, this was targeted at us. And the restriction, according to the British High Commissioner, is so that their social facilities will not be over exhausted because they have some form of control measures and all of that. And it is not just targeted at Nigerians, but foreign students. It's just a way of controlling because the number of immigrants to the country, like it's increasing on a daily basis and all of that. And he has come out to explain that no, this is not targeted at Nigerians, but it is so that they will have control. And for those people that will be coming for undergraduate program or 1 year master's program that doesn't have much to do with research, you wouldn't need or you wouldn't be allowed to come with your families. But those people that are coming for postgraduate programs that they will need to do a lot of research, I think that restriction will not apply to them, restriction of coming with your family members. But the concern right now is the number. In 3 years, we have an increase of 107,000.
Of course, Joyce, it's alarming looking at the number of Nigerian students that have been moving or actually that are schooling in UK. And if you had to ask me personally, that just tell how backward our educational sector is to see the fact that Nigerian students are eager to go outside. There's nothing wrong with, wanting to have another different, educational, learning something different. There's nothing wrong with getting research, going outside, knowing what the universities over there can offer. But there's something wrong when our own educational sector is failing and then we keep having our students going to study abroad. Of course, looking at what the UK said, just like you rightly explained, it's not actually targeted on Nigerians, but they're talking about every other international student that is going. Because according to the UK envoy, he said that the fact that out of 3 million international students, Nigeria have about 25,000. So we tend to be the highest that actually schooling there. Back then, about 8 years or 3 years back, it was just 70,000 Nigerians that were there. But right now, it's about 127,000 Nigerians that are schooling there. And just like you said, looking at those who are permitted to stay, those that can bring their family members over there. And I think it's important that we look inwardly what we can do about our own educational sector to make sure that it's of standard also. Let's go back and see about how many foreigners do we have schooling in our Nigerian university. That will tell us that something tends to be wrong, that Nigerians are not just going out there because they need they just want to school there, but because they're looking at the educational sector here, something is wrong. Now, for a 4-year course, you end up spending 8 years or even 6 years. If you're studying medicine that determines to have 6 years, you end up spending times 2 of that. Why? Because of one factor after another. So I think it's important that we sit back. And this has been a big burden in my heart. Reason why? Because let's take a look at back during the Russia-Ukraine crisis. We saw the swift movement coming from our government trying to bring back Nigerians that were schooling in Ukraine, and that cost us lots of resources to bring them back. Today, we still have the Nigerian government trying to bring back those that are in Libya back. Let's talk about the recent one of the Sudan that we have to bring Nigerian students back. So a lot of things need to go into what can we do about the educational sector so that we have Nigerians being comfortable to study in their own country. Even when you're going outside to study, it's not because your educational sector is not doing well, but because you just need to do something different. We have the likes of Walu Shoyinka. He schooled abroad, but he's back into the country to give back to your country. We saw when Bill Gates and even the Labour Party presidential candidate said we can benefit from this brain drain. But then I went back, or I was actually discussing, and I said if we can benefit, that is to show that there's something that's bringing me back into the country. We're talking about the back and forth and all of that thing, push, pull, and all of that thing. So if I am being pushed to leave my country, what will pull me back into the country again to give back to the society that invested so much in me? So I believe that the government needs to go back and say, what can we do? Really, just like the UK envoy was saying, this is not to discourage Nigerians from going out there. They love the relationship we have together. But then I think that we have to go back and also check what is wrong with the educational sector. Let us do something about it. Even if we're going outside to study, it's not to stay there forever or get bored or get angry because they said you can't bring your family members. But you just know that you just want to have something different and then come back to contribute to your
Like
country.
I said earlier on, Sele, when the policy for visa restriction on foreign students was announced, there were a lot of reactions. People were, oh, it was targeted on Nigerians, even with the explanation. But like I said, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, talking about Richard, said the policy was actually, the policy on the visa restriction was just a mechanized device at managing the population and then the pressure on their social services, especially for scholars. And then and even others, you know, these people have a system that is working, and then it's not like they are just after population, and then will they be able to meet up with the social service that they provide for all of these numbers. So it was just, the policy was just geared at managing the pressure on social services for scholars especially. So I think the concern, like I said earlier on, just within 3 years, look at the number from 20,000 to 127,000. And people are asking the question, should we be celebrating? Should we be jubilating? Should we see this as investment, or we should see it as brain drain? Because in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, when people go out to study, like over here, people are happy that at the end of the day, these people will go and acquire the knowledge, they will come back and invest in their country. But what happened in the 90s and then now in the 20s, like what is happening? Because now when people have the opportunity to go out, as soon as they're even done with their education, they don't even want to come back. Instead, they become of use to those to the countries that they find themselves. We know of so many Nigerians out there that are being celebrated because of their excellence in whatever they are doing. Like over time, we've seen how that our doctors, our nurses are trooping out like to other countries to go and practice. When you ask questions, oh, what we have here is brain drain, we are not appreciated, the hospitals are not even well equipped. When you talk about equipment, you have to go to private hospital and all of that. You see workers working without payment and all. A professor was sharing his experience. He schooled outside of the country, and while he was there, he couldn't wait to come back because he felt, oh, now I have the knowledge. Here is the opportunity for me to impact in the system in my own country. But quite unfortunate that after returning to Nigeria, 9 months of strike was one of the experience he had, amongst many other issues, like the lack of facilities, the issue of having overpopulated classroom and all of that. Yet you don't even have all of your allowances. The one number of students that is supposed to be attributed per lecturer, like you have over 200% of that number you have to teach, you have to mark and all of that. So these are some of the issues. So if we can sit down and think, if in the days of old, if in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, people go out to study, they come back to invest in the economy or in the country, what is happening now that when people even go out, the concern is not about coming back, but to find opportunity. Even people that school here, at the end of the day, they want to go out so that as far as they are concerned, there are better opportunity. Now, the conversation is not even about, oh, maybe the quality of education there is better than the quality of education here in Nigeria, because we've seen a lot of young people that fell prey to even some of these schools online in other countries that are not really of standard in terms of even quality education and all of that. But then the conversation is about making our economy attractive. The conversation is about strengthening our educational system. If we have a functional economy, if we can strengthen our economy where people can get employed, then it won't be a thing of concern when we have over 20,000 Nigerian students studying in the UK, because you know you'll be happy that at the end of the day they will come and invest in the economy. But some of these people will go out and study, when they come back, there's no job opportunity, even though we know that there are organization companies here in Nigeria that, oh, they appreciate the foreign certificate to even the Nigerian certificate. No wonder, or probably this is one of the factors where why people just want to go out and study. When I come back, eventually I'll have my way in some of these big parastatals or bigger positions and all of that. But like I said, we should make there should be better chance of employing people, of engaging people. There's need for us to strengthen our environment and our educational system, that people that go out there to study, or people that study within Nigeria, can find a better working environment. And I think the government can do more by adding money into the system. When you go to some of our tertiary institutions, from the structure and everything is so dilapidated, so you don't expect anything good to come out from that kind of system. But if we have consistency, when you say a 4-year course is 4 years, then I don't think somebody will be trying to move out of the country at all costs. Just look at the 3 out of the 3 million visa that was issued to international students and other immigrants. Nigerians got 350,000. That's like 10% of that number. That's to tell you that more are still going out when they are falling for opportunities like that. So I hope we'll do the needful, so that we will not come and, because I saw recently at the 10th National Assembly how somebody, House of Reps, how someone was raising an issue of concern. He said that this JAPA syndrome is becoming an issue of concern because we're having our best, the skilled people, intelligent people, everybody's moving out. So what becomes the fate of the system? And then a lot of the members said that, oh, you can't stop infringe on anybody's right to movement, constitutional, that people go to where they want to go.
This coming out from the House of Assembly, because we always have our public holders, public officer holders, mostly their words are the ones that are actually there. Because I clearly remember the same thing happened during the ninth Assembly, when one of the members stood up and said that possibly maybe those who are actually in the office, their work should stop studying abroad. But then he wasn't even allowed to complete his statement. The entire house was in record laughing, all of that, and then just trying to make a ridicule out of the member trying to raise. And if you ask me, I would have said it's valid what he was trying to say. But Joyce Back was saying that we have only the rich going there. Right now, everybody is looking for a means to just leave this country.
Because they know how your system operates. They come up with so many attractive measures. They tell you scholarship, like it's no longer even expensive like that, the education. They make it so attractive that you want to go, because you're also looking at the economic value and other things. So I think the baseline here is for us to strengthen our educational system. Let's make the environment also strengthen in a way that it will be able to accommodate and employ graduates when they are done from school, not a system whereby it's not really functional. You're in today, tomorrow you are out on strike, and different issues. And let's make sure that our institutions are well equipped, so that, I think the bottom line, let's also make it attractive, so that the student will want to stay here and get educated, impact in the society, in the system as well. I think that is going to be important. Again, selling on electricity tariff, these schools are insisting on 40% hike from 1st of July.
Joyce, we started this conversation last week Friday. We're looking at a 40% increment on electricity tariff, and we saw when NLC kick against it, man was saying there's going to, that is they said that it's actually not being trying to consider the common man, because they're also looking at the fact that manufacturers are seeing that the environment right now is no longer favorable for them to do business. We've had a lot of over 50 firms in the past 8 years have left the shores of Nigeria to go relocate to another country, and then possibly just make Nigeria a marketplace for them to just sell their stuff. And then if you get to ask who lost at the end of the day, we lost. Because if these manufacturers are leaving the shores of Nigeria because of certain things that are not favorable at the end of the day, we have a lot of jobless Nigerians at the end of the day, because people are being laid off their duties or laid off their responsibilities because a particular firm can no longer take up this number. And if you really ask me, Joyce, this is really, really painful at a time like this. We're still looking at the first subsidy removal, and then a lot of people are still yet to wrap their head around this whole situation. Palliative with the Nigerian people have not seen it, and then here again it seems as if you are being hit from left, right and center with different policy. But then having a policy is not bad, but then looking at the implementation, of course, if you ask Discourse and also you ask the the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission, they will tell you that the reason they're doing that is because of the exchange rate and also looking at inflation. But then, Joy, the question would be that, are we trying to say that for every time we have an increase in inflation, we are going to have an increase in tariff? A study was taken, and then it was said that during the Goodluck administration, if you are to buy a unit for 1,000 naira, you're hoping to get over 60 units. And then it went down looking at during the Buhari regime, that for every 1,000 naira, you get maybe 16 units. And then looking at the paper today, they're saying that for every 100, for every 100 naira, it's going to be 1 kilowatts. That is to say that if you're going to buy 1,000 naira, you're hoping to get 10 unit Joyce. And then tell me, what are you hoping to do with 10 units? For somebody that is just managing with a small business. Maybe you're just having a small barbing salon, and then you're hoping to make something out of it. Nothing can come out of this whole thing. And I really feel so heavy in my heart, to the point that my words are short, because this is really going to be very hard for every Nigerian at a point like this. Not just to manufacturers, but even to the common man. How do we expect them to actually survive? Okay, if you are increasing this tariff, how about the service? How have the service been so far? On Friday, we're talking about, why not let's talk about increase on distribution, increase on service, and all of this thing. So of course we know that, yes, looking at our exchange rate, it has increased, and definitely they're trying to look at, in as much as they want to give the Nigerian people service, but they're also looking at making profit. But then I keep asking the same question again. Who is going to pay for all of this? Why is it that the common man has to be the one to keep paying over and over, to keep sacrificing?
You know, it was last week's earlier that I said that if we want to build this nation, it will take us understanding of the times that we are in. And last week we saw of the alleged plan to increase the electricity tariff. And it was just yesterday that the likes of AEDC, that's the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, as well as the Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company, insist on the July 1st as the day whereby they are going to take off with the increments of the electricity tariff by 40%. Like you rightly said, a lot of people have reacted. We've seen the Manufacturers Association of Nigerians actually calling that outrageous. We saw how that when the allegation of the increment came out, the NLC president Joe Ajero said that's insensitive and callous. He also said that it shows that this is an organized indifference between like for the well-being of Nigerians. Because if you understand the times that we are in, such decisions are not one that you just want to quickly take or fall for. We are talking about a time where Nigerians are battling with the effect of the first subsidy removal. A lot of meetings have been called on cushioning the effect on the common man, but what we hear is, oh, meetings are being adjourned. Up till now, the issue of palliative cushioning effect have no direction yet. People are still wallowing in pains of the effect of fuel subsidy removal. That is almost looking at like the announcement just came without any plan of cushioning the effect. Because if there were plans on ground, then it shouldn't linger for this long. At what point are we thinking of cushioning the effect after some people have lost their lives because they cannot feed? So I think we need government, we need leaders, we need people at the helms of affairs that will be considerate and that will have understanding of the times that we're in. We've been talking of the effect of these increments. Now manufacturers are already saying that, oh, this is outrageous. They are into business. At the end of the day, you're going to be having inflation, increase of prices as well. It's going to definitely reflect on prices of goods and services. I was just thinking, like, do people think of the effect of decisions or policies they're about to take? I say, what about a time where every other product and then services entity decide to talk the same part? I think the common man in Nigeria will just turn to dust, because where would you get the money to pay all the bills? So we need to have a government, we need to have leaders that will be sensitive to the needs of the people. Like, how can you be serving people and then you are just insensitive to their needs? We've talked about regulatory bodies. Now it is expected that NEC will actually come out to talk about this, or NLC have talked beyond the talk. Can we see some actions being put in place? As far as manufacturers are concerned, in the past 8 years there have been increase in tariff over 86%.
There has been, it's just that
nothing was done, and then This one again, they have announced, NLC are saying, no, you should not do this. And yesterday, they are making the announcement, oh, if you need to buy, you better go and buy your unit because by first, in bulk, like there's one money you kept somewhere, go and buy it in bulk because by 1st of July, there's going to be increase. Good and genuine reasons they give: increase in exchange rates from 441 to 750, increase in pump price of PMS, inflation rate of about 22%, and all of that. But are you sensitive to the time that we're in right now? This is a time where even the 200,000 minimum wage that Tuesday are even initiating, nothing has been said about it. We already had, oh, these demands are going to be shared long time, short time, medium time. Nothing has been done already, but the date has been fixed for the hike in tariff, 40%.
Joyce, it hurt me because the statement they came, they said Nigerians should be innovative and then to avoid waste. But then take a look at the things that have been happening in Nigeria. Joyce, you will agree with me that Nigerians have tried their best to be very economical in everything they do. If you go to any household right now, it's either we have the household that have, yes, they use the gas, they have the charcoal, they have the firewood. Because a lot of people right now cannot even no longer make use of maybe their gas, cannot even make use of their hot plate anymore because of the electricity tariff that is high. And then if you are, for instance, you have a house, you have to off your refrigerator maybe after 6 hours to make sure that everything is cooled. You have to off every bulb in your house because you're trying to be economical about all of this. So just like you said, this is really painful and it's really not right for the common man. We keep saying that if the Nigerian government is actually paying subsidy for electricity, let us feel it as Nigerians that yes, something is being paid about it. It hurt me the fact that there was no wide consultation in all of this, because the consultation is going to start after the tariff is already in effect, because according to the spokesman of the NLC said that next said they are going to have a stakeholders meeting in July. Just that is after the tariff is already increased, and then even taking a look at the 8 weeks that is being given before the increase of the minimum wage, which we are not sure will actually even take place. So the common man will have to start paying. You are earning 30,000 now, you pay electricity, you pay for your electricity, and then you don't even have to, possibly you don't even have the money to pay for your transport fare.
Apparently, with everything that we're seeing, we've been applauding so far some of the decisions of the new administrations and all of that, but I think more sensitivity should be put in place, especially as regard the common man. Like life in Nigeria for the common man is hard. Like the NLC president says, decisions like this goes a long way to show indifference in terms of well-being of the common man, of the consumer, especially the poor ones. Like I've not seen. We are always thinking of measures, even policies that are geared toward helping them. At the end of the day, some rich allied will sideline it, keep it for their family members, and the common man keeps suffering. This is the time where we should be talking about, oh, what is NEC doing? What is the government doing to ensure improvement in electricity, to ensure improvement in the generation, in the transmission and distribution, so that people will be able to enjoy all of this. The other time we're talking about the 5,000 megawatts, the threshold. Have they been able to achieve this in the past years? Not yet. But the increase in tariff, just like the Manufacturer Association have said, in over 186% in 8 years, and now we're still talking about another 40%. We can only build this nation by understanding the times we are in and being sensitive to the needs of the common man. Like I said earlier on, if other products and services or entities are going to tour the same path of increasing, I think the common man will turn to dust, because you just become helpless. So we need a government that will be sensitive in terms of regulation as well, because we cannot just, you can't have regulatory bodies and then independent or private entities will keep making decisions that, or coming up with decisions that will make life difficult for the common man. Let's see government in practical terms being sensitive to the needs of the people.
Because, so Joyce, I just hope that right now the government realize that they should earn the trust of the people, because over the years we've seen that it's not even Labour that must speak for the people anymore. The people have taken up to the street to go speak for themselves, so the government will hear them. I just hope that that won't be the case right now, that the people will get so pushed to the wall that they will retaliate, and then we know the way this retaliation mostly end up is not really a good sight to behold. So I hope that the government will actually do something about this. July 1st is just on Saturday, Joyce. I keep insisting, so it's not something very far from us. But I hope that before that July 1st, the government will be able to look into all of this thing and then come up with something that will actually help the common man. We are talking about 133 million Nigerians that are living in poverty, so you know what that means, right? So I just hope that the government truly will take a rethink on all of this policy that they are setting.
Well, the least the government can do is to strengthen the economy, invest in the educational system, and government should not forget that its primary responsibility is the protection of life and the welfare of its citizens. This is the much we'll take on Nigeria Now. Thank you so much, Sele, for doing this with me. Great analysis as always. To our viewers, until we come your way tomorrow with another package, you have a great day.